Most people live their entire lives as prisoners of their emotions, tossed about by anger, fear, anxiety, and confusion, without ever mastering the very forces that control their destiny. But what if you could become unshakable? What if, no matter what chaos erupts around you, you could stay calm, clear-minded, and deeply connected to yourself and others? That's the hidden power of emotional intelligence, and no one understood it better than the ancient Stoics. Today, I'm inviting you on a journey. Not a journey of comfort, but of discipline, clarity, and strength. Over the next few minutes, I'll share 5 simple daily habits drawn straight from the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. Practices that, if you commit to them, will transform how you experience every relationship, every challenge, and even your own inner world. This isn't theory. I challenged myself to live these habits, and what I discovered changed everything. Stay with me, because at the end, I'll ask you one question, a question that could alter the course of your life. First, what exactly is emotional intelligence? At its core, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate your emotions, and to recognize and empathize with the emotions of others. Daniel Goleman, who popularized the concept, broke it down into 5 elements: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. But if you think about it, the Stoics were teaching all 5 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In Stoicism, the mastery of the self, especially your thoughts and emotions, was seen as the gateway to living a flourishing life. When you master your emotions, you're no longer a victim of circumstances. You become the architect of your responses, and ultimately, your destiny. Now let's get practical. Here are 5 daily Stoic-inspired habits that can turbocharge your emotional intelligence starting today. Habit 1. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't just a trendy buzzword, it's a Stoic commandment. The Stoics called it prosoche, attention to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Be concerned with how you use the present. Every morning, I now start with 5 minutes of pure mindfulness. How? Sit still. Focus only on your breath. When thoughts come, don't judge them. Just gently return to the breath. The goal isn't to eliminate thinking. It's to realize that you are not your thoughts. This simple ritual builds self-awareness like nothing else. You'll start noticing the emotions rising before they hijack you. The result? You respond, instead of react. It's subtle at first, but over time, it's like gaining superhuman reflexes in your own mind. Challenge. Start with 5 minutes of mindfulness right after you wake up tomorrow. No excuses. Watch what happens over a week. Habit 2. Journal your emotions. The Stoics were relentless journalers. Seneca said, "Each day, we should call ourselves to account. What wrong did I do? What good did I accomplish? What duties did I neglect?" Why? Because writing forces clarity. It reveals the hidden emotional currents shaping our behavior. Every evening I now write down, what did I feel today? What triggered that feeling? How did I respond? And what could I do better next time? The point isn't to shame yourself. It's to observe yourself like a scientist, with detachment and curiosity. For example, trigger. My coworker interrupted me. Emotion, anger and resentment. Response, I snapped. Better option, pause, breathe, calmly state my boundaries. In just a week of emotional journaling, you'll notice patterns you never saw before. You'll realize that much of your suffering is predictable and therefore preventable. Your challenge. Tonight, Spend 5 minutes writing about just one emotion you felt strongly today. Habit 2. Journal your emotions. The Stoics were relentless journalers. Seneca said, "Each day, we should call ourselves to account. What wrong did I do? What good did I accomplish? What duties did I neglect?" Why? Because writing forces clarity. It reveals the hidden emotional currents shaping our behavior. Every evening I now write down, what did I feel today? What triggered that feeling? How did I respond? And what could I do better next time? The point isn't to shame yourself. It's to observe yourself like a scientist, with detachment and curiosity. For example, trigger. My coworker interrupted me. Emotion, anger and resentment. Response, I snapped. Better option, pause, breathe, calmly state my boundaries. In just a week of emotional journaling, you'll notice patterns you never saw before. You'll realize that much of your suffering is predictable and therefore preventable. Your challenge. Tonight, spend 5 minutes writing about just one emotion you felt strongly today. Habit 3. Practice active listening. Most of us don't really listen. We wait for our turn to talk, or we listen just to reply, not to understand. But the Stoics, they valued empathetic listening as a way to practice humility and compassion. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." When you truly listen, you stop making assumptions. You enter the other person's world. You forge a deeper, human connection. So how do you practice Stoic active listening? When someone speaks, focus 100% on their words and their body language. Don't interrupt. Don't think about what you'll say next. When they finish, pause, then respond thoughtfully. Because active listening builds trust like nothing else. Even difficult people soften when they feel truly heard. Your challenge. In your next conversation, focus entirely on listening. No interruptions, no judgments, just presence. Habit 4. Take the pause before you react. The most powerful weapon the Stoic had was the pause. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Anger, panic, jealousy, they all arise before we even realize it. But if you can insert a moment of conscious pause between stimulus and response, you break the automatic chain. Here's the method. When you feel triggered, take a deep, slow breath. Silently count 1, 2, 3. In that space, choose your response. You might still get angry, but now you're aware, not hijacked. The difference between a wise person and a fool, the Stoics taught, is what happens in that sacred split second. Your challenge. The next time you feel emotionally charged, pause for 3 full breaths before you speak or act. Habit 5. Practice daily gratitude. Gratitude wasn't just a feel-good practice for the Stoics. It was a discipline of perspective. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Every morning, or every evening, I now list 3 things I'm grateful for. Not the big, obvious ones like family or health, but small, specific moments. The warmth of coffee in my hands, the stranger who held the door open, a kind word from a friend. Gratitude rewires the brain. It trains your mind to scan for goodness instead of lack. It transforms resentment into appreciation, envy into admiration, fear into trust. Your challenge: write down 3 specific things you're grateful for every day for the next 7 days. Watch how your emotional world begins to shift. So, to recap, the 5 Stoic daily habits to boost your emotional intelligence are: 1. Practice mindfulness. 2. Journal your emotions. 3. Practice active listening. 4. Pause before reacting. 5. Practice daily gratitude. These are simple, but don't confuse simplicity with weakness. Master these, and you'll master yourself. Now here's the question I promised you. What emotion tends to control you the most? And what would your life look like if it didn't? Imagine living unshackled from anger, fear, or self-doubt. Imagine navigating every storm with calm, clarity, and compassion. You can. The Stoics left us the blueprint. We just have to walk the path. If this video spoke to you, take a moment to like it and subscribe for more Stoic insights delivered weekly. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 5 habits will you start with? Remember, your emotions are powerful, but you are more powerful still. Or